कृष्ण। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So in this series of Purushottam Mass Katha of visiting various holy places, today we'll be hearing about the Amarkantak Dham. This is a very different kind of dham than we Vaishnavas regular visit. This is a dham which is predominated by the worship and the devotees of Lord Shiva. And although our philosophy, by the philosophy, we are worshippers of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, but still we consider Lord Shiva as the topmost devotee of Lord Vishnu. So, hence, to glorify him and his devotees, we'll be discussing today the Katha on Amarkantak Dham. This Amarkantak Dham is a unique dham located at the junction of two mountains. There is Satpura Hill located on the central and the east and the western and southern side of Indian subcontinent, and there is another Vindhyachal mountain which is located from the central up to the eastern and northeastern side of Indian subcontinent. In between, connecting the two mountain ranges, is another short mountain range called Maikal. Vindhyachal, Maikal, and Satpura. The junction of the two mountain ranges is Maikal mountain range, which is considered to be the origin for the river Narmada, and the Amarkantak Dham is located in this Maikal mountain ranges only. So that's how the location wise it's located in the central region of India. Okay. Uh, this Amarkantak Dham is a very unique dham. Why it is unique? It's the origin of three rivers: Narmada, Son, and Johila. These are the three rivers which originate from this single dham called Amarkantak. Okay. However, Johila and Son rivers, they slowly merge into Narmada, but at least for some distance they flow independently, and ultimately they merge into Narmada and then become a substitute one river Narmada only, and then henceforth they go ahead. Narmada is a very unique river in one sense, the river which flows towards the western side of our country and falls into Arabian Sea. Generally, all rivers they fall into the Bay of Bengal, flow towards the eastern side, but it starts in central India and flows towards the western India and falls into Arabian Sea. Now, this Amarkantak Dham is the origin of Narmada River. How it originated? There is a story in the Sthala Puranas. There is a Purana called Narmada Purana, which is Sthal Purana. Sthal Puranas, as we know, are the Puranas which glorify the Tirthas. The local Puranas of the Tirthas, they are Sthal Puranas. They are apart from the 18 Mukhya Puranas and 18 Upa Puranas. So these Sthal Puranas glorify river Narmada very amazingly. They say that Lord Shiva, after Samudra Manthan Leela, as we all know, Samudra Manthan Leela happened, and Devasur Sangram happened, whatever happened, Lord Shiva, after drinking the Kalkut poison, he was feeling a kind of burning sensation in his throat. And to get rid of this burning sensation, he was roaming around and finding no rescue, how to get rid of it. He was going here and there, and finally, when he came across this Michael mountain range, he was impressed. He saw that many devas are doing austerities there, and many asuras are also doing austerities there. Demons and demigods both are doing austerities in this Michael mountain range. So he came down upon this Michael mountain range, sat there, and Lord Shiva also started performing austerities to get rid of this the burning sensation on his throat because of the Kalkut poison. And when he was doing his austerities, he got sweating on his throat. And from the sweat of his throat originated the river called Narmada. So in the Michael Mountain range, it was originated from Lord Shiva. So she is daughter of Lord Shiva actually. She originated from the sweat of Lord Shiva, and she is Narmada, the daughter of Lord Shiva. She is also called daughter of Michael Mountains because she originated on Michael Mountains, but actually she originated from Lord Shiva only. See? That's why this river is more worshipped by the worshippers and followers of Lord Shiva. She's also worshipped in the as like she's originated before Ganga even originated in this earth, on this our planet. So she's one of the oldest rivers. Her name is mentioned in many Puranas. Many holy places are located on the banks of Narmada, and many pastimes have happened on the banks of Narmada. In the Bhagavatam, Narmada is mentioned as the place, the banks of the Narmada where Devasur Sangram happened, Vritrasur and other demons along with devas. However, Prabhupada says that that happened on the higher celestial planets, but the pastime of this Vaman Dev and Bali Maharaj that happened in this earthly planet only. There's a place on the bank of Narmada in Gujarat called Bhegukach. Now it is modern day name is Bharuch, from where Narmada flows into the Arabian Sea. So there the pastime of Vaman Dev and Bali Maharaj has happened. So that's how lot of holy places. There's a Shivling also. There's a Jyotirling, Omkareshwar also, along the banks of the river Narmada. Okay, so let's start discussing about the holy places in Amarkantak Dham. Then we'll discuss briefly about river Narmada. So first, the holy place of Amarkantak is the origin of river Narmada, Narmada Kund. It's mentioned in the local Janashrutis that river Narmada came in the dream of a man called Reva, and she said that actually I am originating from this place where a lot of bamboo sticks are there, so you please make a kund around it. Today you don't find any bamboo sticks there, but when Reva went, there were a lot of bamboo trees located around, and in the between those bamboo trees was the Narmada Kund. So he made this kund, and that's why there are a lot of temples in this campus in the Narmada Kund, and the temple of Reva is also located there because he actually constructed the first kund of Narmada Kund. So this is a place where Narmada originated in the first, from the throat of Lord Shiva and from the top of the Michael mountain range where Amarkantak is located. Narmada river is situated there. Now this Amarkantak, the first, as I told, the origin of three rivers. The first and foremost place is the origin of Narmada river. We have five major rivers whom we worship in India. Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Samhikru. Ganga, Jamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu and Kaveri. So Narmada is one of the prime rivers whom we worship, and she is originating from this Amarkantak, located in Madhya Pradesh, in Anuppur district. Yeah, Amarkantak. Next place to visit is this place, the origin of river Son. This place is also called Sonabhadra. So it's again a story mentioned in the local Puranas that Son was the son of Brahma and only male river. All other rivers are female, and Son is the only male river. So Son was originated from here, and he originated in the form of a Bhadra Purush. So that's why this place is called Sonbhadra. And here, this is on the top of a mountain, and very nearby to it is a sunrise point. The place on the edge of the mountain, and it's a very beautiful scenic place in between the mountains. This whole place, Amarkantak, is located around mountains. All around there are mountains, and river Narmada is one of the rare rivers in India which is flowing in between valley only. Always you'll find two side mountains, and in the valley Narmada river is flowing. Unlike Ganga, which is flowing on the main land. So mostly Narmada is flowing in between the valleys only. So Sonbhadra is the only male river, and he originated at this place, Sonbhadra Kund. It is also located in Amarkantak, just few kilometers away from the origin of Narmada river, Narmada Kund. And he was about to be married to river Narmada, but somehow this marriage could not happen. So Narmada was very upset with that. So this is the second place, the sunrise point of the Amarkantak and Sonbhadra river. It is on the, as I told, on the tip of the hill, and there are fences all around so that people can go and take safely darshan of the sunrise. Otherwise, because on the top of it is on the top, there is risking of falling down, and people have faced difficulties to do that. That's why there's a balcony kind of structure created there, so that people can go and have a nice scenic beauty there. Unlike other dhams, this dham Amarkantak is not modernized it is still traditional to a great extent. Traditional in the sense its population is only 8 to 9,000 only. That's it. Not many people are inhabiting there. And still today also in the period of Chaturmas, there are a lot of sages who come and do their intense sadhana, bhajan, tapasya and hari katha here. Generally, the today's dhams, it's very rare that people don't visit just as tourists, but here people come with a lot of shraddha. We remember from Shri Radha Gopinath temple, we had a yatra here, Brahmachari's yatra. We visited here. So the local people where we booked the local ashramas, they told that it should not be Guru Purnima time, it should not be Chaturmas time, because that time occupancy is completely full. Leave aside the ashramas, even the hotels are full mostly during Chaturmas time in Amarkantak. There are selected hotels only. They are also full even that time, because a lot of sadhus and the devotees around come here, flock together and do intense sadhana and bhajan here during the Chaturmas time. That's how it is traditional in that sense, still traditional. And you will find all around good greenery, lushy green forest. Everything is very beautiful here, this dham, and all around trees as well as river Narmada flowing. This is the first waterfall in the course of Narmada. It is called Kapildhara. So this is the second place called Kapildhara. Kapildhara is the first waterfall which comes on the course of river Narmada. This waterfall is 150 feet high. Okay, so this is a very difficult to approach waterfall. It's located in between the rocky mountains. When we approach there, we still remember when we went there in Chopati Yatra with Brahmacharis, some of us got scared. We did not even dare to go inside. Some of us who went, some of us who knew how to swim, we had to cross through some rocks, then swam, and then climb another rock to take bath in this Kapildhara. And some of us who did not know how to swim, we had to catch more and more rocks and just touch the water a little bit, so that, and these rocks were slippery also. These rocks were slippery, and finally when we went, it was like achievement for us, those of us who did not know how to swim. And we took bath, and it was very refreshing, very amazing, this Kapildhara. I remember there was a beehive there, but we forgot the beehive. We did not just think and care about it. We just took bath, and this was very adventurous experience. So this Kapildhara is a difficult to approach waterfall, but looks very beautiful. The first waterfall. After this waterfall, Narmada river goes 20 feet wide. Before this, it was just a stream of river, small, thin stream, but it becomes 20 feet wide river. And Kapil Muni did his austerities on the bank of this Kapildhara, and he was taking bath regularly here. That's why this waterfall is named after him, Kapildhara. Okay? This Amarkantak Dham is the tapobhumi of many sages. Some of the great sages who did austerities here are Kapil Muni, Bhrigu Muni, Durvasa Muni, Shankaracharya, and many others like that. Even Lord Shiva did his tapasya here, but there are still many great sages who did their tapasyas in the Kapildhara, in Amarkantak Dham. Next is just few meters ahead of Kapildhara is Dudhdhara. Now this Dudhdhara is people say three different reasons why they are named as Dudhdhara. Dudh means milk. Some people say because the water is very milky white, that's why it is called Dudhdhara. As unlike Kapildhara, which is 150 feet tall, this is just 10 feet high. This is just 10 feet high. And next to it is only Durvasa Muni's, this gufa is located, where Durvasa Muni was doing his tapasya. Some people say because this Durvasa Muni was regularly taking his bath, this dhara was called Durvasa Dhara, and now it is called Dudhdhara. And some people say because it is two streams, that is do dhara, it became Dudhdhara. Different versions. But the modern day it is named as Dudhdhara. And Dudhdhara here, it is not so difficult to approach. People can easily, the tourists and everyone, all the Tirthyatris can easily take their bath here. Very refreshing experience again. And this is the Durvasa Muni's cave, which is located on the banks of Dudhdhara. And here Durvasa Muni did his tapasya. Still will find many mendicants coming and staying here sometimes, especially during the time when tourists visit here less. The mendicants stay here and come here and do the tapasya. And this is the shivling of Durvasa Muni. So still there is one pujari who stays there and takes care of the shivling. However, because it is too easily to approach, a lot of tourists come. So that's why a lot of tapasvis don't stay here. Tapasvis try to stay in some other place, which is called Chandika Gufa in Amarkantak. This Chandika Gufa is a very difficult to approach cave. It is located on the in between mountains, or not on the top, not on the ground. If somebody has to go to Chandika Gufa, they have to climb completely hill. And if somebody is adventurous, they can come up with their trekking suit and everything, and they have to go climb and go inside the cave to do the tapasya. People say that still there are a lot of yogis who go and do their tapasya, and there are a lot of siddhi mantras written on the walls of the cave. People use those siddhi mantras to stay there, survive there, and do their tapasya for many years in Chandika Gufa. So this is the Durvasa Muni's Gufa, Durvasa Muni's cave on the banks of Dudhdhara. Another very holy place where Durvasa Muni, one of the great rishi, did his tapasya on the banks of Dudhdhara, on the banks of Narmada, of course. This is another place, the third great sage who did his tapasya, Bhrigu Muni. This place is called Bhrigu Kamandala. Now, if you are able to see the sadhu sitting there, behind him is the cave where Bhrigu Muni was doing his tapasya. Now, this cave is also not easy to approach. For approaching this cave, it is deep inside the jungles, deep inside the forest, the woods in the Amarkantak. So, if somebody has to approach here, he has to first go by drive 2 kilometers away from Narmada Kund, and then he has to walk inside the jungles, and he has to walk and climb some rocks, mountains in between, and then in between the jungles he approaches and comes to this cave. Okay? So regular tourists can't come here. It's not an easy approachable place, but still those who are mendicants, they try to come here, stay, especially during their tapasya sadhana time, and they do their austerities here. And next to it the cave is the Kamandala of Bhrigu Muni. Actually there is no water source nearby, so Bhrigu Muni wanted to do puja to his shivling. What he did, he wanted holy waters from all the places to come and accumulate here. So he made a hole in that walls of the cave, outside the walls, in one of the rock, and all the holy waters appeared there. Still somebody can, if somebody can put his hand inside, he can feel the waters and take out and experience the holy places, holy waters of all the sacred rivers of India. And with that, Bhrigu Muni was bathing his shivling, which is inside the cave. Now, this cave also is not, first of all, difficult to approach, but inside also it is very narrow to go inside. It's where somebody has to really completely, shrink himself before going inside. And then after going, somebody can sit there and do tapasya. So Bhrigu Muni was doing his tapasya and worshipping his shivling, and this hole, he was dipping his kamandal and taking water out of this hole. That's why this place is called Bhrigu Kamandal, the place where Bhrigu established his kamandalu. So this is the third place where great sage did austerity, in Amarkantak only, within the domain of Amarkantak. Next place is this beautiful temple. This temple is more than 1,000 years old. This is called Sri Yantra Mandir. Sri Yantra is one of the, as you all know, you might be knowing, it is a very, very traditional. If you see in many of the places, especially in traditional Indian Hindu homes, in their place of worship, they establish Sri Yantra. It is considered to be a symbol of Lakshmi Devi, and a lot of benefit comes through by establishing this Sri Yantra. So this whole temple is constructed in the form of Sri Yantra, more than 1,000 years old. Today we make some building, it has a life of 100-150 years, that's it. But these Asian structures, which are more than 1,000-1,500 years old, they're still standing, and they are epitome of our the kind of technology what our Asian people were using, and they are just showing us the excellent artistry what they had. They were using the Vedic Vastu Shastra proper, and they were establishing everything as it should be. So this is that Sri Yantra temple, which was more than 1,000 years old and still located and standing erect for all of us to see and get just wonderstruck. This is also very near to Narmada Kund. Somebody can walk away also, just within 1 kilometer from the Narmada Kund. Why I refer Narmada Kund every time? Because Narmada Kund is the center of Amarkantak. It is the spot why people go to Amarkantak for taking darshan of the origin of river Narmada. And from here, all the other places are located. So the Sri Yantra is within the city of Amarkantak, and people can easily go and take their darshan. This is another temple, which is again more than 1,000 years old. There was Raja Karna Singh who was ruling here, and this Karna Singh Raja was this king, made this temple. Earlier, this temple, instead of this place, there was a whole kind of fort which was made for Narmada Maiya. When Narmada Maiya came to stay here, for her to stay, there was one fort made, the palace made, which was called Rang Mahal. And when Rang Mahal, it was lot of years back, when this king came, Raja Karna Singh, he constructed this Keshav Narayan temple here. And this temple is also more than 1,000 years old, made from the best of the sculptures and made from the best of the stones available at that time. And this place was made by the king in the memory of Mother Narmada, Keshav Narayan temple. These are the temples by Raja Karna Singh built there. It is told this is from Kalinga architect. Jagannath Puri temple also looks like this. So this is the Keshav Narayan temple, which was built by Raja Karna Singh 1,000 years back. Next is Farsa Ganesh. Now, Farsa is the Parshu, what we call, the X. If you see, this is Lord Ganesha inscribed in the big rock, holding a X. So now this is self-manifested Lord Ganesha from this rock. People say there are 10 Dhampalas here, Digpalas here. All are Lord Ganeshas, and all of them are guarding this Dham. All these Lord Ganeshas are guarding this Dham of Amarkantak. So this is one of those Dhampalaks, Lord Ganesh. This is a big rock actually. This is a big rock. We cannot imagine the structure of this rock from this photograph, but this is actually a big rock. And this rock was also located in between the jungles, in between the woods, and somebody has to really struggle to go inside and take this darshan of this Farsa Ganesh. There's another Ganesh, Siddhi Vinayak Ganesh, which is even further more difficult to approach, which is actually located again as like Chandika Gufa, very in between the mountains, and somebody has to really go close to take the pics if somebody wants to go there. Siddhivinayak Ganesh, that is also self-manifested Ganesh from the rocks. So they are also the Dham Palaks of this Amarkantak Dham, who try to protect the Dham and give pleasure to Lord Shiva and Mother Narmada. Farsa Ganesh. Okay. Now this is another place which is worshipped here, Kabir Chabutra. There was an ancient saint, very famous saint here, Lord this Kabir. There are a lot of followers of him called Kabir Panthis. So this Kabir Chabutra is the place where Kabir Das did his austerities here, and he got his self-realization. He composed a lot of dohas, Kabir. And for the followers of Kabir Das, this place is very holy, and there is a temple of Kabir Das located here. And inside this temple, there is a deity of Kabir Das also, and this is the place where Kabir Das is also worshipped. So till now, what are holy places we saw? I will just quickly revise. We first saw origin of Narmada, Narmada Kund. We saw Sonabhadra, Sonkund. We saw Farsa Ganesh. We saw Kapildhara, Dudhara, Bhrigu Kamandal. We saw Durvasa Muni's cave. We heard about Chandika Gufa. We saw Farsa Ganesh, and we saw Kabir Chabutra, Kabir Vat. Now, near the Kabir Chabutra, there is Kabir Vat also. Now, this Kabir Vat is a tree which was planted by Kabir Das, and Kabir Das used to sometimes do his tapasya there also. Okay? So, this is the holy place which is worshipped as the self-realization place of Kabir Das ji. Now, this is a very interesting place. This is a place where Narmada Maiya was doing her childhood playful pastimes. Narmada Maiya, she had a very fast friend called Gul Bakawali. Now, this Gul Bakawali and Narmada Maiya, they had their lot of playful pastimes in their childhood in this garden. This garden is called Mai Ki Bagiya. Mai means mother, and the local residents, they call Narmada as mother. So that's why they call the garden of river Narmada, Mother Narmada, is Mai Ki Bagiya. So this Mai Ki Bagiya is a place where Narmada was playing with her childhood friend Gul Bakawali. Gul Bakawali is a medicinal plant now. The origin of Gul Bakawali is from Amarkantak, and this medicinal plant is mainly known for treating some eye problems. Those who have Ayurvedic background, they know it. And this Gul Bakawali, this is the plant. They have a flower also. In the photo, we are not able to see the flower, but only plants. This place is called Mai Ki Bagiya, the place where Narmada Maiya was playing her childhood pastimes. Past friend Gul Bakawali, and these plants are Gul Bakawali plants with Gul Bakawali flowers. When they come, they have a lot of Ayurvedic importance. Mai Ki Bagiya. Next is this place called Jwaleshwar Dham. This is the place, Jwaleshwar Dham, where deity of Lord Shiva is located. The benefit which one gets by offering the river, the water of Gangotri to Rameshwaram, Lord Shiva, there's a lot of importance of it. There's a lot of punya which one gets by offering the water of Gangotri to the deity, the Shiv Lingam at Rameshwaram. Same benefit one gets by offering the water of Narmada to this Jwaleshwar Mahadev. This Jwaleshwar Mahadev is also little far away from the main Amarkantak campus. Somebody has to really endeavor to go there and take darshan of Jwaleshwar Mahadev. Somebody has to schedule his plan to go there. If you are going there, you have to really work for it, because it is not in nearby campus to Narmada Kund. So when one goes to Jwaleshwar Mahadev, and make sure that you take the water of Narmada to offer to Jwaleshwar Mahadev. Now this, within the same campus of Jwaleshwar Mahadev, there is the origin of third river from Amarkantak. As I told in the beginning, Amarkantak is the Dham from where three rivers are originating. First, Narmada, second, Sonabhadra, and third, Johila. This third river, Johila, originating within the same campus. And there is a Kund here, Johila Kund. Now, this Johila Kund is the place from where river Johila originated. And from here, it also, although it flows for a short distance and merges into river Narmada, but this is the place from where it originated. So the beauty of this place is, first of all, very less tourists come here, and very full temple, very beautiful temple. Peacefully somebody can come and offer the water here to to Lord Shiva in the Johila Kund, Jwaleshwar Mahadev. So this place is a very interesting place, which is called Dhuni Pani. Now, this place is located in between forest, very difficult to approach, but very interesting place. It is said a lot of sages did big tapasyas and lot of yagyas here. So the mud contains here lot of ashes. When you dig it, you will still find lot of ash in the mud mixed. So this place is called Dhuni Pani. There is no water source around, but only this pond is located, and this is in between deep forest, deep jungles. When we have to go, ordinary tourist cannot approach it. When somebody goes there, he has to first of all drive 2 kilometers away from Narmada Kund, and he has to drop his vehicle there and then start walking into the jungles. First climb the rock downside, then climb up, then there are a lot of forest, then again go up down, then go deep inside, then you come to this place, Dhuni Pani. I still remember when we went here with the brahmacharis of Shri Radha Gopinath temple, we were attacked by the bees. And bees were really behind us, and some of them were, I was stuck by 2-3 bees, and all of us were stuck, and then we were hiding, and when everything was okay, then we went back from different route altogether. So this is the place, Dhuni Pani, in between the forest, and very difficult to approach. Ordinary tourists cannot go, but the mendicants, they come, the yogis, the tapasvis, they come, and they do their intense sadhana and bhajan here, Dhuni Pani, the place in between the forest, where difficult to approach, but lot of tapobhumi of rishi munis are there. This whole Amarkantak still is famous for lot of tapasvis, lot of as I told also in the beginning, that when we were trying to book our accommodations for yatra, that time we were told no, you should not approach during this time, you should approach away from Chaturmas time, otherwise you will not get any accommodation. It's very difficult to get, because those sadhus who don't get accommodation, they come here in these places and they do their tapasya here. The place Mai Ki Bagya, there also some ashramas are located in between the forest, where sadhus come and stay. Even if they don't get any place, they stay in Mai Ki Bagya, lying around on the ground, and they do their tapasya. Sometimes they come and stay here near Dhuni Pani. Sometimes they go and stay in the caves. Okay, but this is a favorite spot for the sadhus, especially worshippers of Lord Shiva, of course, who come and do their tapasyas in their tough times, in the especially during Chaturmas time. They come and stay here, Dhuni Pani, in between the forest. Next, this place is called Chakratirth. Chakratirth is the place where river Narmada comes, gets divided in the form of Om, Omkara. Okay, if you see the aerial view from the top, it is Om shaped, and then river Narmada flows ahead. This place is called Chakratirth. The significance of this place also lies with the fact that it is told that when also Lord Vishnu got his Sudarshan Chakra from Agnidev here. Although Lord Vishnu has Sudarshan Chakra always with him, but in the earthly pastimes, when he was gifted the Sudarshan Chakra by Agnidev, he got it here on the Chakratirth. There's another Chakratirth in Naimisharanya, where Shukdev Goswami, no, not Shukdev Goswami, Sutta Goswami spoke Bhagavatam to Shaunakadi rishis, but that is different Chakratirth than this one. This is Omkar shaped, Om shaped, And here Narmada flows in the shape of Om and goes ahead. This is the Chakratirth. In fact, the place where Narmada goes ahead, and in there's one place called Mahishmati or Maheshwar. The now modern day name is Maheshwar in the Khargon district of Madhya Pradesh. That place also is almost like Omkar kind of thing. Okay? So that's how these places are named, Lord, by the Omkareshwar or Om or this Chakratirth. This is an interesting place. As I told in the beginning of this description, Narmada Nadi was supposed to be married to Sonabhadra. So this is the place, Maika Mandap or Maika Madwa, the place where the our mother Narmada was supposed to be married to Sonabhadra. As I told, Sonbhadra is the only male river and all others are females. So Son river was about to be married to Narmada here. But due to some reason, the marriage could not happen. The marriage broke apart at the last moment, that too at the last moment. And Narmada Maiya felt very, very bad because of that. She felt very sad and she went inside the cave there located in Maika Mandap. If you see, Narmada river is flowing in a small stream like structure here, very small stream, thin stream. In Maika Mandap, Narmada river flowed with lot of sadness, and everything, all the arrangements which were done for river Narmada there, everything turned out to be stone. The whole pandal which was made, the whole structure which was made, it became stone. The floor, the atta which was there ready, that became stone. All the vessels, cooking utensils became stone. All the cooked food items became stone, and everything around became some stony rock there. And still, the local residents have written atta, chakli, belan on the stone. Everything, whatever turned out to be stone, what it was before and how it turned out to be stone. So this is the place, Maika Mandwa. This is also very difficult to approach place. It is in between rocky hills. Somebody has to really endeavor to go there. In the main campus of Amarkantak, somebody can easily approach Narmada Kund, Jwaleshwar Mahadev is a little away, but easy to approach. And Sonabhadra, then this Kapil Dhara, Dudh Dhara. These are the places where regular tourists can go. But these are the places, rare places where regular tourists cannot go. Somebody, those who are mendicants type, they have to take special endeavor to go and take darshan of this place. So this is Maika Mandwa, Maika Mandap. So this is the place where Narmada, river Narmada's heart was broken and everything turned out to be stone. Okay. Now, there are a lot of glories of river Narmada which are mentioned in the scriptures. First, it is told as Mokshadayini, Mokshpadayini. She gives bhakti to Shiva also. She is capable of sending someone to Shiv Lok. As we do Ganga Aarti, and in Govardhan Eco Village we do Yamuna Aarti also. Similarly, in Amarkantak and many other places, there is a very beautiful Narmada Aarti which happens. During Narmada Aarti, they sing Narmada Ashtakam. Very beautiful songs, very beautiful song which describe the glories of river Narmada. The 8 verses. This Narmada Ashtakam was written by Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya wrote Gangashtakam also. He wrote Narmadashtakam also. The 8 verses which describe the glories of river Narmada. In fact, it is told as that when we take out any stone out of Gandaki river, it turns out to be Shaligram. It is a Shaligram Shila. We did not install it and directly worship that as Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is personally located on the foot, almost on the dip. Lord Vishnu personally is located. His Shaligram Shila, not Lord. He turns out to be Lord Vishnu is Shaligram Shila. Similarly, every rock, every stone of Narmada bed, on the river bed of Narmada, every stone is Shivlinga. We need not install it. We need not do Pran Pratishtha of it. We can directly take and worship that as Shivling. And people still worship this as Shivling. There's a term called Mahameru Yantra, the place where lot of Shivlings are located. Any Tirth Sthala where lot of Shivlings are located, that is called Mahameru Yantra. So there are only two Mahameru Yantra in India. One is Varanasi, another is Amarkantak. The local residents say that there were a lot of Shivlings located here, but they are invisible now. Some of them are visible, some of them are invisible, but still they are being worshipped. And river Narmada, the river bed of Narmada contains, I don't know, infinite number of Shivlings, and they can be directly taken out and worshipped like this as Shivlingas. So each and every stone of river Narmada is Shivling. River Narmada is said to be have originated before even Ganga. She's elder to Ganga in terms of descending, avtaran on this earthly planet. So she is actually a very sacred river to all of us. She has lot of holy importance. She has lot of, I should say, holy sentiments. She carries a lot of holy sentiments for all the followers of Lord Shiva. Now, we have a very interesting pastime from Ramayana time, which happened on the banks of Narmada. As I told, uh, there was a kingdom Mahishmati, which was located on the banks of Narmada. This Mahishmati was the capital of Hai kingdom, and the prominent king of the Hai kingdom was the king Sahasrarjuna, Kartavivir Arjuna, who was thousand-headed, who was killed by Parashuram. Now, some people say this Mahishmati is modern day Mandala, and others say this Mahishmati is Maheshwar, located in the Khargone district. So, what happened that once this Kartavivir Arjun was enjoying on the river Narmada along with his queens. So, what he did to impress his queens, he blocked the waters of river Narmada with his 1,000 hands. 500 this side, 500 right, 500 on the left. And when the whole river was blocked, the water started rising on the banks, and it was flooding. It was flooding, and Ravan was doing his austerities there. And when Ravan was doing his austerities, suddenly he found water rising. He was surprised. How come it is flooding? There are no rains, but still flooding. He wanted to see what was the reason. He came on the banks of Narmada and he saw this, that the king is enjoying with his queens and blocking the waters. He became very upset, very angry. As egoistic he was, he challenged Kartavivir Arjuna for a battle. And it is mentioned that Kartavir Arjuna, without any efforts, he just defeated Ravana immediately. Ravana was defeated in his life 4 times. One was by Kartavir Arjuna, another was by Vali, third one when he went to Sutalok to ask help from Bali Maharaj, he was defeated from the Dwarapal of Bali Maharaj, who was none other than Lord Vishnu. And fourth, he was defeated by Lord Ramachandra himself. So, Kartavir Arjuna defeated Ravana, which happened on Mahishmati, which was on the bank of river Narmada. There's a Omkareshwar Mahadev, this Jyotirling, one of the 12 Jyotirlingas, Omkareshwar, which is located on the bank of river Narmada. Actually, Omkareshwar on this bank and on the other bank, Mamleshwar. They are in the same city called Omkareshwar, but both Omkareshwar and Mamleshwar, they are on the eastern and western banks, and both together, northern and southern banks, and both together make one Shivling. Actually, it was one Shivling earlier, but river Narmada flowed in between the two, in between. So they got separated as two, Omkareshwar and Mamleshwar. And there, if somebody has to take darshan of Omkareshwar, actually he has to take darshan of Mamleshwar also. So both together taking darshan becomes darshan of one Shivling, Omkareshwar. There are many holy places along the banks of river Narmada, By the way, Narmada is the only river of which we do parikrama. I remember some of the pilgrims whom I met when they were doing Narmada parikrama. They said that it takes around 3 years and 3 months to complete the parikrama by foot. So what they do, they start their parikrama from Amarkantak. They go all the way up to the Bhrigukach or the Bharuch, from where the Narmada goes into ocean. There they cross. They don't cross the Narmada in between. There they cross at the junction where the Narmada is falling into the Arabian Sea, and then they return back all the way. So this is that holy river, only river in India of whose we do parikrama. And one more thing, there are many, as I was telling, many holy places, some of the prominent places along the banks of Narmada, which if somebody which somebody is interested, they can do visit. They are not in Amarkantak, but along the Narmada. There is Har Siddhi temple, Shubhleshwar temple. There is Uttar Vahini Narmada, Triveni Sangam, the river Narmada, Orsang, and Gupta Saraswati at Rajpipal. They meet there. So these are the holy. There are many holy places, small and big, on the banks of the river Narmada. There is one very interesting pastime which has happened on the banks of Narmada near Maheshwar. Maheshwar is the older day Maheshmati. Some say Mandala, some say Maheshwar. Once Ravan was doing his austerities on the banks of Narmada, and what happened amazingly that our the king, the high king, the Sahasrarjun. He was playing there along with his queens, and he had 1,000 hands. He blocked Narmada, 500 hands on the right side, 500 hands on the left side. He completely blocked river Narmada flowing. So what happened? It started flooding on the banks, and slowly it reached to the Ravan. Ravan saw that he is getting submerged in the rivers of Narmada. He was surprised. How come without rains there is flooding? Then he came across, he was seeing, and then he saw. He was angry at Sahasrarjun. Ravan challenged Sahasrarjun, and to no surprise, Ravan was badly defeated in the battle. It was very humiliating for Ravana. And Sahasrarjun did not kill him because he was supposed to be killed by Lord Ram, but just he forgave him. So that's how the big, the powerful and charismatic kings also stayed on the banks of Narmada. While flowing, Narmada, as I was telling, the only river which will flow towards the Arabian Sea, the only kind of river of whose parikrama is done, and so many holy places, the only river which cuts a Shivlinga, a holy place, a Jyotirlinga, into two parts, Omkareshwar and Mamleshwar. As I mentioned already, that when we have to take darshan of Omkareshwar, we need to take darshan of both Omkareshwar and Mamleshwar. That combines and makes one Jyotirling. Not two. They are not two Jyotirlingas. They are one Jyotirlinga only. Hmm? And one more very important thing about the Narmada river. The river bed of Narmada contains many stones. Now each stone of on the river bed of Narmada is Shivlinga, as each stone on the river bed of Gandaki is Shaligram Shila. Similarly, each stone on the river bed of Narmada is Shivlinga. We need not install it. We can directly bring and start worshipping it. So that is the glory of this river. So Narmada is considered very holy river, especially amongst the devotees of Lord Shiva. She is considered to be the giver of the bhakti towards Lord Shiva. And when somebody gets a genuine bhakti towards Lord Shiva, naturally he will come to Lord Krishna as well. So, in summary, what all places we saw, I will just quickly summarize. First of all, we started with the glories of Amarkantak Dham. That this is Dham which contains which is the origin of three rivers: Johila, Narmada, and Son river. We first took the darshan of the Narmada Kund, the Udgam place, the place where river Narmada started, the originated. We also took darshan of Son Kund, Sonbhadra, the Son river Udgam Sthal, where we came to know that this is the place from where, which is the sunrise point of the Amarkantak, which is located on the top of the hill. We also saw Kapildhara, the 150-foot tall waterfalls, the first waterfall along the side of Amarkantak. Acha, by the way, I forgot to mention that apart from Kapildhara and Dudhara, there are many other waterfalls along the river Narmada. Further ahead in Amarkantak only, there is Shambhudhara, there is Durgadhara, and if we go ahead further in the after Jabalpur, after Bheda Ghat, there is one Dhuadhar waterfalls. What is the Dhuadhar waterfalls? These Dhuadhar waterfalls are the waterfalls which is the everywhere it is smoky because of the it is falling. If you see the Niagara Falls, so it is, of course, it is not as tall as Niagara Falls, but then it is the so much mist is there in the atmosphere, it appears very smoky. That's why it is called Dhuadhar. Dhua means smoke. Dhuadhar waterfalls. Narmada flows in between the Chattan, in between the Rocky Mountains. And in Jabalpur also, there is very special temple of Chatusni Devi there in Jabalpur. All across this on the river bed of Narmada, there are many holy places of especially Lord Shiva and Shakti. We also saw Dudhara and the cave of Durvasa Muni along the Dudhara, where Durvasa Muni did his tapasya. We came to know that Amarkantak also has one cave called Chandi Gufa. The Chandi Gufa is very difficult to approach. It actually somebody has to do vertical climbing the hill to reach that Chandi Gufa. It is very unapproachable, but only the mendicants, they climb the hill, they go inside the cave to do their tapasya, their austerities, and still there are some Siddhi mantras written on the walls of that cave on which this Siddhi yogis, these yogis, they meditate upon. The Durvasa cave is not so difficult to approach, but once Durvasa Muni was staying here, we also saw the Bhrigu Kamandal, the place where Bhrigu Muni did his austerities, the cave of Bhrigu Muni, and just outside the cave on the rock, the place where Bhrigu Muni called upon, he invited all the holy waters inside one hole from where he could dip his kamandalu and take out the holy waters to worship his deity Shivlinga. We also saw the temple of Sri Yantra. The Sri Yantra temple is constructed in the shape of Sri Yantra. Sri Yantra is the one yantra which is worshipped in many of the Hindu homes as Lakshmi Devi's symbol to invite the auspiciousness in their house. The whole temple is built in the shape of Sri Yantra. The Sri Yantra temple is very easy to approach. It is in between the main Amarkantak campus only. There are some places which I am mentioning are difficult to approach. Some places are easy to approach. Bhrigu Kamandalu is very deep inside the forest. Somebody has to walk in the woods 2 to 2.5 kilometers to approach Bhrigu Kamandalu. Okay? Then we saw the Keshav Narayan Mandir, which was built by Raja Karnadev in 1000 years back. We saw the Farsa Ganesh, which is deep inside the forest. Siddhi Vinayak also, which is also deep inside forest and very difficult to climb. And they are the self-manifested Ganesh deity from big rocks that themselves manifested. We saw Kabir Chabutra, the place where Kabir Das, one of the famous saint in India, got his self-realization. We saw the place where river Narmada Maiya in her childhood was playing, the place was called Mai Ki Bagiya. Narmada Devi was playing there with her fast friend Gul Bakavali. Gul Bakavali is now a medicinal plant with a lot of good flowers originated from Amarkantak only. Gul Bakavali and Narmada Maiya were very fast friends in the childhood. Narmada is now river and Gul Bakavali is the plant. Ayurvedic doctors know the importance of the Gulbakavli plant. We saw the Jwaleshwar Dham, where Jwaleshwar Mahadev is there, and we also came to know that the benefit what one gets by offering the water of Gangotri to Rameshwaram, the same benefit one gets by offering the water of Narmada to the Jwaleshwar Mahadev. We also saw in the same campus of Jwaleshwar Mahadev, there is origin of river Johila, Johila Kund. We saw Dhuni Pani, which is also very difficult to approach place. It is this Dhuni Pani is the place where lot of thousands of rishis did thousands of years of yagya, and the mud still contains lot of ashes from that yagya. If we dig the mud, we'll find ashy mud in Dhuni Pani, and all around there is a small pond in Dhuni Pani, which is also like ashy kind of water mixed with ashes. And in the whole of the forest, it is deep inside the forest, Dhuni Pani, where some water droplets are found, only source of water in that forest area. This is also very difficult to approach. Somebody has to walk 2 kilometers inside the woods in the forest to approach Dhuni Pani. We also saw Chakratirth, where Narmada Devi flows in the shape of Om, Omkar, and then goes further. The Chakratirth, this is a place where Lord Vishnu got his Sudarshan Chakra from Agni Dev. We also saw the Maika Mandava, the Maika Mandap, where Narmada Devi was supposed to be married to Son river, but unfortunately they could not get married. The marriage got broken, and then everything got converted. All the paraphernalia for the marriage which was accumulated, they got converted into stone. The lump of atta, the lump of flour, wheat flour, which was which was prepared for making this chapatis, it was turned into stone. All the instruments which were used, they turned out to be stone. The whole the kind of setup which was done, everything turned out to be stone, because Narmada Devi was very, very unhappy there. There's a small cave where Narmada Devi did her vilap. She was very morose and doing her vilap there, and nearby to that, everything they have marked out. This was chakli, this was belan, this was atta, everything's marked there. And these are the holy places which we saw in Amarkantak. We also saw along the banks of river Narmada, there are a lot of holy places. In Bhrugukach, which is Bharuch nowadays, Bhrugukach, the place where Narmada river merges into the Arabian Sea, there is the same place where Vamadev came for asking the 3 pieces of land to Bali Maharaj. And it is the same place where Bali Maharaj became a pure devotee, was recognized as a Mahajana. And we also saw the place Maheshwar, which is Maheshmati, old day Maheshwati, where our Brahman was defeated by Sahasra Arjun. We also saw the famous Omkareshwar Shivlinga, the Jyotirlinga, Omkareshwar and Mamleshwar, the only Jyotirling which is divided by Narmada into 2, Omkareshwar and Mamleshwar. By taking darshan of both on this bank, northern bank and the southern bank, then only one takes darshan of the whole one Jyotirling. We also saw that this is the only river which is done parikrama of. It takes almost 3 years and 3 months to do full parikrama of river Narmada once in a year. Okay? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Narmada Maiya ki jai. Shri Amarkantak Dham ki jai.
RG Media YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe.